mystery and horror. The air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremony, Sam, and I am joined by Dan from Bleed and Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Is that your doll leg?
Hi.
Oh, no. No.
Hi. I'm Chucky. Want to play?
See, I'd want to play with that fucking doll, not the doll in tonight's episode. Well, welcome to another episode of the Monsters Up North podcast. This week, I want to get all the eye rolls and the out the way with now. We are doing best horror movies, and we're doing mine first.
We flipped. It's fair and square.
We did. And in a way, I'm kind of glad because we can just get out the way with it and we've done it, dusted, and we never have to talk about it again and we never have to watch it again. And it's just, put it in the back burner and then we can just move on with our lives. But tonight we are talking about one of the worst fucking horror movies ever created. That actually is my first horror movie. And yeah, it's a thing.
It's a something.
It's a something. So I'll do the disclaimer and we'll crack on into it. I'll show a little bit more enthusiasm as we go along, but we will crack on into it. So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions, and it's our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our Discord, Facebook, or the comment section where we can have an open discussion. What we won't have, though, is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can't all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Don't be a dick.
There you go. What the lady said.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dolly Dearest, the 1991 horror slasher, starring Denise Crosby, Rip Torn, Sam Bottoms, and Candice Hutton. Despite being critically panned, it has sometimes been credited as the inspiration of the 2014 Annabelle. This is where the fairy tale ends and the nightmare begins.
You're not fucking
As
right.
Monsters Up North brings you Dolly Dearest.
There ain't no fairy tale here.
Oh my God. Talk about a really, really terrible film.
Yeah, we can, because that's what
I just can't believe when I rewatched it that this terrified me. I watched this when I was 8 years old. It was released on VHS in 1991, so I was 8 years old, 9, and I have, like probably many people did back in the day, I have that one friend who used to get all of the movies that you and your parents would not allow you to watch. And I still have that friend. She's a dear friend of mine still today. And we used to go to her house. I mean, she introduced me to Elvira.
Mm-hmm.
She introduced me to horror. My love of horror comes from her. And the first ever horror movie that I watched was Dolly Dearest. The second one, I really wish I'd always said that this was not my first, but the second one was, and it was Witchboard.
Right.
We used to go to my friend's house all the time and just watch Witchboard on fucking repeat. No wonder I really like Ouija boards now. But yeah, this was the first one. Like this gave me nightmares beyond like I have ever had before.
Were you aware of Chucky before watching this? Right. So it was literally your entry in that respect. Wow.
Yeah. This was my entry into horror, into the fact that I first learned about Child's Play and Chucky when the James Bulger.
Oh, yeah. So that was roughly around this time, 1991, 93. It was
Round it was, but it was definitely Dolly like came first.
Yeah.
Dolly is the reason I never owned dolls as a kid. They got removed from the house, like, or hidden away. Like, I could not be around them. I slept in my parents' bed for I can't tell you how long. And once that kind of like initial fear went away, I was like, oh, nothing actually happened. What else can I get into? I know, Ouija boards. Let's summon some dead.
Yeah, why
Let's
not?
do it the right way.
Get that Sanzia to possess you, eh?
Oh God, Sanzia.
Yeah, Sanzia.
Satan on earth.
With the head of a goat baby or something like that. I mean, to be
It
honest,
was the body of an infant and the head of a goat.
yeah. Bloody goat babies, eh?
Oh,
Everywhere
my
these days. Can't go
God.
anywhere without goat baby popping up.
God, yeah, absolutely horrific. Oh gosh, I've totally done 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that has been
That's
fucking generous.
score. That really is. Wow.
Oh, it is like I can't even describe how terrible this movie is. I just think I messaged you last night and just went, this is turd. I am so sorry. I am sorry that this is the first thing that I ever watched. Like, I apologized.
The thing is, though, I also watched this film when I was younger. So it would have been roughly around the same time, be it maybe a bit later, maybe 92, 93, I watched it. So that would have put me at 12, 13 when it came on. And I was having a sleepover in the garden. We put a tent up in the garden, and there was 3 of my other friends from school. And we were watching Dolly Dearest, because you always have that one person whose parent will go and get out the horror film and let you watch it.
She lives around the corner.
Yeah. And for some reason, I'd insisted on getting Dolly Dearest, and I'd never heard of the film. I was aware of Chucky because it came out in 88, so I knew of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd seen a Chucky at that point. My sister's 2 years younger than me, so if I was about 12, 13, she would have been 9, 10 when it.
Oh, your poor sister.
Yeah, 9, 10, 11. But she had a friend sleeping around upstairs, and we were going to go out in the garden, sleep in the tent. Well, we used to have these pajama, like in the olden days, you used to have these pajama stuffers. So yeah, we had like these. They were like cartoon clowns. They weren't scary. They weren't like it clowns. They had nice faces, but you used to fold your pajamas up and put them inside.
Yeah,
and they
remember them.
used to sit on the side. And my sister, wicked little shit at the age of 9 to 10, we were well into this film, all 4 of us, like watching Dolly Dearest. And we used to have these like Louvre doors in the front room that came down. When you come downstairs, they were at the bottom. One was part opened and one was shut. And she did this thing with this little clown and marched it around the corner, watching, and didn't see my sister because it was pitch black. Obviously, we had all the lights off because you're trying to be brave. And all you saw was this little fucking clown moving on its own around the corner. And amazing. We screamed, and I don't think any of us actually slept in the tent all night because we were all so scared that a doll was going to come and eat us in our sleep or something.
Oh, that is fantastic.
That's why Dolly Dearest stays with me. And I messaged her to say we're doing Dolly Dearest, and she went, "Should I go get the clown?"
Well, this is why I obviously didn't. When I said last week, I thought Child's Play came afterwards, is because I thought this was later than what it actually is. This is from 91. I genuinely thought it was from like the early 80s, which is why I was like, I thought she in it because I hadn't heard of Chucky when I was younger, and
well, the quality of it
looks ancient.
The film itself, you compare that to any other film from 1991, and this looks old. The film
Scream came out not long after this.
4 years, 5 years.
4
or 5 years after this. And the quality of this movie, my God. But the people they had working on it was so prestigious. I still can't get my head around how we got here.
How did we get here? How? The cast. Yeah. Denise Crosby. Now, I'm sorry, but she was not good in this movie. I don't know if she just gave up or she just wanted it to end
Well,
because there was no enthusiasm in her whatsoever.
if I remember rightly, Pet Cemetery, which we've covered, so go back and watch that one when we finish this one.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery came out in 1990, was it? Or was it just before or just after? Because I haven't got my notes about Pet Cemetery. So I know that was somewhere in the vicinity of this, but I don't know if it came before or it came after.
The book came out in 83, the movie came out in 89.
89, so I went far off. So bear in mind, she's had 2 years since she's been riding the success of Pet Cemetery, because she won a lot of awards coming off the back of Pet Cemetery. They weren't like Oscars or
no, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like that,
no horror's going to win an Oscar.
But she won some pretty prestigious awards off the back of it, and she was riding a wave, and she was doing really, really well. So it felt like she thought this one was going to keep the momentum. But to be honest with you, there was no substance to her character. She was just like this mum that then became one of those soap mums. It was like, oh, at one point, and I was like,
yeah, like, but even that felt forced.
Yeah.
And took one look at her and went, "Oh, is that her from Star Trek?"
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Well, she quit, didn't she? She walked off set. She quit Star Trek.
What? Did she?
Yeah. I was reading up on it today. 1988, 1989, she had a fallout with somebody and she said, that's it, I quit, I'm not doing this no more. And there is one scene, and I'm sure the guys on Trekking will correct me if I'm wrong. They're more than allowed to do that. So, you know, good old Captain Goodwill and Mr. Graham, because I always forget what name he's got on Trekking.
Is it Chief Officer Synoiz?
That's it. The very last scene that Denise Crosby does in Star Trek in one of the episodes is Picard's walking off the ship to do his scene, and in the background you see the doors shutting and Denise Crosby's waving like this, the lift's shut, and that's her final scene in Trek. So I think that was 88, 89. So I
thought she was like alum, like she was in it for a long time, but I'm no Trekker.
No, I mean, you know, the boys will correct me if I'm completely wrong, and please do.
But nicely.
No, Graham can insult me. I can take his insults.
Well, Sam Bottoms.
That's an unfortunate surname, is it not?
It very much. His face looks so familiar to us, but I have not seen anything. I'm very young.
No, yeah, he did. I mean, I do not know that man. But like you say, he did look exceptionally familiar. But going back to Denise quickly.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Denise was Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Oh, was she?
I mean, the surname makes sense, but I didn't connect the two. You know, for anybody that doesn't know, Bing Crosby was "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas," among many other lovely croony songs. But she was friends growing up with George Clooney, because Bing and Rosemary Clooney were in so many movies together.
Oh yeah.
They were the grandkids when they were very, very little, hung around together. I mean, there is a bit of an age gap, but they were, so the stories say anyway.
Yeah.
She's also a distant cousin of the Family Guy / American Dad creator Seth MacFarlane. And her fourth cousin is, now, forgive me on my pronunciation of this one, because I know him from, in Heroes, he played the guy that you always thought was going to run off with a cheerleader, but it was the cheerleader's dad was his older brother, and I've gone blank on his name in Heroes, but he also played Rocky's son in the new Rocky movie that came out.
Oh, God,
Milo Ventimiglia. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I cannot pronounce his name. He was in Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Anyone? Yeah. Yes.
Milo or Milo, I'm not sure. Like, again, my Italian, I butchered that, and I do apologize. But
he's in that tearjerker that's on Prime. Oh God, it's with Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
He's really good in that.
Yeah, he's her fourth cousin as well.
Oh,
He's
she's got a
supposed to be
famous
fourth.
family then.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ancestral Hollywood things, where everybody just
Banged each other.
That casting couch was a busy time.
Massively. But
She was also in The Walking Dead. Did you know that? I've completely forgot she was in The Walking Dead. Denise
who the fuck was she in The Walking Dead?
Terminus. When they were all cutting the heads off in Terminus, when they were eating the people. It was Denise.
Yeah. Did Carol took her out, didn't she?
I think so, yeah, because I remember her cutting off. Now, people will know what I mean when I say this. I remember when she cut off the penguin's head.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
In Gotham. Yeah.
Yeah. Robin,
Yeah.
coincidentally, I saw him 2 weeks ago at Aberdeen. And
Oh, just casually chuck that one in there.
no, but it was weird. He did, when you catch someone, because
He's got a very distinct face.
and I heard his voice, and I was like, that's not, because sometimes I don't pay attention to who's on the roster, and I should, but I don't. And I turned around and I was like, oh, I didn't know he was here, and he was doing a Q&A, and he was talking about like all the stuff that he was on, but he's got such a distinctive voice. I automatically knew who it was without even looking.
He's got a really unique face as well, like beautiful, like structured face. Oh my God, now you've said that, I can see it. Yeah, because Carol goes all in there, fucking Sarah Connor like, and takes them all out.
Yeah.
That's when it was fucking good.
Yeah, it's when I enjoyed it. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen it, like I said, since the Heads on Sticks. I haven't really watched it that season.
When Samantha Morton Alpha got took out. And I don't know why. I've tried to watch the last series. I invested 10 years of my fucking life to this show. And I can't bring myself to watch the last. I don't need to watch the new Michonne and Rick show because TikTok took care of that for us. I know exactly what's going on.
I've been avoiding that like the plague, because I thought if I do for any reason want to watch it, then I will. But I feel like, do I have to finish the Walking Dead series to watch the?
I don't feel like you do.
Well, I hope not, because I don't want it.
I don't feel like you do, because Michonne goes on a mission to find him, and that's it. This is the mission.
This is.
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? But Sam Bottoms.
Yes.
What acting school did he go to?
Cardboard acting school.
Oh my God, I have never seen, I know Denise Crosby was probably just fucking so over this film, but he was absolutely. You've seen Troll 2, right?
A long time ago.
Swear to God, that better be on our fucking list, because that
is on the list. I put both. It is
one of the fucking. That is a shit film, but it's so shit and clouded in so much fucking controversy that it is so fucking good. And it reminds us of the dad in that.
That might be what it is. That might be why he looks familiar.
You don't piss on hospitality. I fucking love Troll 2. I wish that was my first one. There's so many other films I wish I've said in the past that was my first ever horror, but I can't deny myself that this is it. His acting was absolutely appalling in it. I think he was really fucking trying.
And that's what made it worse. He shouldn't have tried. I think it would have been better. I mean, who buys a doll factory, sight unseen, in arse back end of nowhere, Mexico, uproots his entire family, sells his house
in Los Angeles, by the way.
Yeah, and then comes down to Mexico to a shed
next to an archaeologist. I can't even say it. Archaeological. I can't even
get me at it then. Archaeological, yeah.
Dig site.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly placed, by the way. And also, I'm gonna wait until we get it in the movie before I start going on a massive fucking rant. Rip Torn. Can you tell me what accent he was meant to be doing? Because I can't quite figure it out. Is he English? Is he Mexican? Is he fucking American? I just can't quite get it. Where's that accent from?
Oh, he was all ripped torn up. That's
no, he Kathy Bates that fucker.
He was. I want to say. I think he was trying to be slightly Hispanic, but that's as far as I'm going
I
to
mean,
take.
that's better than me saying Mexican, but yeah.
But he could have been Mexican or he could have been Spanish. I really wasn't sure what that was. I was like,
But at one point he was talking like an English scholar.
Yeah.
And I was like, where
And
are you
then
from?
and then he'd have another accent and it was almost like CC Senor, you know, and I was like,
Yeah. And then he was ripped on and he was talking with a it's a kid. Oh, the choices. I just kept thinking, reliving Kathy Bates back in Roanoke and trying to figure out where the fuck her accent was coming from.
Yeah, the whole oh god, yeah, and technically apparently that was like a not New England, but like the settlers accent was supposed to be like that.
Oh, and here's me like mocking it for all these years.
No,
it was horrific.
It was horrific, but apparently it was pretty true. But it's still.
Well, Rip Torn's wasn't, because I can't quite decipher where he comes from in this universe. The young girl, I would class her as the main star, to be honest with you, because fuck me, did she act in this movie? Like, she generally put a bit of heart and soul into it.
Yeah, she's 12 days older than me.
Candice Hutton.
12 days older than me.
Oh, Houston. Sorry, Houston. Do you know who she is?
No.
She's the voice of Sarah in Land Before Time.
Yes, I did know that actually, because I did check and I was like, first of all, I was like, didn't she die? You know, when you have that moment, like, you're
that's Judith Brassey.
But my brain had that moment where I was just like, did she die? And then I saw she was still making films way after that. And I was like, oh, right, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Oh, no, but she would have known Judith. Judith, if no one knows, Judith Brassey was the voice of Littlefoot. And she was murdered by her father and double murder suicide. When she was like 9 years old or something. Like, so fucking sad. But she would have known her. And she was Sarah, and I was like, oh, I love. And our sister Anthony was going, which one's Sarah? And I went, fucking Triceratops. Like, how did she not know that? How did you not know that?
To be fair, there's two films I haven't seen in a very, very long time that I keep meaning to go back and watch, but I don't think I'm in the right headspace for it, which would be Land Before Time and Fern Gully. They're the two that I need to go back and rewatch. But like,
I feel like I've seen Fern Gully, but I can't be 100% sure. But Land Before Time I will never fucking watch again in this lifetime or any other lifetime that I managed to experience, because that movie destroyed me. And still, even the idea of it, just thinking of it, destroys me. You put fucking Diana Ross on. Put that song on. In a second, I will be crying my eyes out. I just can't take it. Anth bought it years ago, and it's still sitting in the back bedroom with cellophane on it. Right. I will never, ever fucking watch it again. I didn't take a note of Jimmy, but I actually like Jimmy as a character.
He went on in his personal life to be a sports coach at a high school.
Good for him.
He literally he had 4 films in the 80s, and then this was his last movie that I could see. He had credits for doing some voiceover work and stuff like that later on down the line in the late 90s, but then everything stopped and he went in the early 2000s and became a coach at a school, which I thought was
good for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't, like I say, much to report about him. I did notice, did you think the woman who played Camilla was familiar?
Yeah.
I mean, Paula spotted it a mile off, but she was Rosalita, wasn't she, in the Goonies?
She's also Yolanda Saldivar in Selena, and I was just like, "What the fuck's Yolanda doing in this movie? Get out!"
Yeah,
in my notes, I have not called her by her name at all. I have called her Yolanda.
Her name's, from what I can gather, and again, I'm going to butcher this. I think it's either Cypriot or Greek, so I do apologize, but it's or it even could be.
I think she's
Hispanic. I'm not entirely sure because
it's the Octavarios.
Yeah.
It's the Varios that gets us.
Yeah, it's Lupe Ontiverius, I think. But yeah, Ontiverius to me sounds like it's Greek or Cypriot or something like that.
The various sounds Hispanic. The Otti bit that's the Greek part that I feel like that is anyway. Oh my god, I am no expert in fucking language at all. I can barely speak it, but it's just when you look at it, do you know? Gosh, what's her name from Steel Magnolias? Olympia Dukakis.
Yeah.
It's how I look at her name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way with this one as well. I know what I mean in my head.
Yeah, no, I got what you mean. But Rosalita,
yeah.
for those of you that don't know, was the one that is always shouting at the end, like she's looked in the bag and there's all the gems, and she's going, she keeps going to mouth, you know. I'm not even going to tell. I know what she says, but if I try and pronounce that, I'm going to embarrass myself. But she's going, no paper, no paper, no pen, no pen, no pen, no paper, and she's telling, you know, her mouth's going, don't sign. Yeah, and so she's the housekeeper for Mikey's mum.
She's the one who mouth is if you watch the uncut version that ITV, don't watch the ITV one, watch obviously a DVD version, you will see what actually Mouth says to her about Mikey's family, and that they are all drug dealers and
murderers and all sorts of
murderers and this, that, and the other. But if you watch the cut version, you will never see that part. She also played Yolanda Saldivar in Selena, which kind of good cast in mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like when you look at the two, it was really good casting.
Yeah, I will say that is in your head who you think could play her quite easily. I've not seen the Selena movie TV series.
What?
I know, but I know stuff about it. It's not like I don't know things about that case,
which one though? Because there's two now. There's the Jennifer Lopez one.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh my god, it's so good. Then there's also the one from the girl from Walking Dead who did the Netflix special.
I know who you mean, but I haven't seen either of them. I know I do 100 podcasts on it. Don't get me wrong. My podcast is where my knowledge comes from on it. But yeah, I'm not up on the on the movie side of it.
True Hollywood Stories, mine. Honestly, it's how that's the only way I can think how I got to know about Selena is through because I used to watch it all the time. True Hollywood Story used to be some of the best fucking TV. Used to do some of the greatest true crime documentaries, and you didn't even know you were watching fucking true crime documentaries. They were so fucking good. So yeah, Yolanda. So if I'm referring to Yolanda in this movie, it is not Yolanda. It is, what was her name?
Lupe Ontiveros.
No, what was her character? Camilla. Yeah. Camilla to me is Yolanda, because I just kept saying, Anthony, fuck's Yolanda doing?
There is a Chucky connection in this movie, though.
There is.
Yeah, through certain Mr. Ed Gale, who is known to be, he played all the live action Chuckies in the original 1988, and he played all the live action Dolly Dearests in this one as well. But he's most known, other than for Chucky, he's most known as Howard the Duck. Ed Gale.
Again, a movie I watched as a kid, genuinely thinking it was a horror movie. Like up until recently, up until I started reading comics, I didn't know Howard the Duck was a Marvel superhero. I thought he was a fucking horror character.
When you look at it with the eyes of watching it, am I right in saying Joe Dante had something to do with it? I think he did.
I feel like he did.
Joe Dante, for those that you don't know, is the Gremlins guy. He's more than that, but this is like Idiot's Guide. And not calling you idiots, but he Joe Dante is one of the nicest blokes ever. Whenever you see him interviewed, he did The Howling, he's done a lot of movies. And he I'm pretty sure it was one of his, and
I'm just finding out for you now. It was
Howard the Duck.
It was. No, it's not.
Was it not?
Oh my god, Jeffrey Jones is in it. Ew.
Yeah, he is.
It's William Hayek.
Oh, what was I thinking?
Oh my god, it was produced by George Lucas.
That's probably what I'm thinking of. I knew that there was someone famous attached to the movie. I watched it probably about 3 or 4 years ago because it was on TV really late at night. and the theme of bestiality is strong.
Mm.
Leah Thompson with a duck
But
and
I
no one bats an eyelid.
I honestly thought it was a horror film. Like I convinced myself in my younger days that Howard the Duck is horror. It's not. It's comic book.
It is, yeah.
It's for children. That is for children. There's actually a couple of Child's Play themes that run alongside this movie. It's considered. I don't know who's considering this, by the way, but it's considered a clone of Child's Play.
Okay.
Don't know who's making that fucking decision because it's not.
I did see a video, and I think it was a Joe Blow Joe Blow video on YouTube that paralleled every scene. They were very different, but they were equally inspired, shall we say? So,
you've got to be looking with a fine fucking tooth comb to be finding any fucking parallels between them two movies.
Shot for shot, it's not so much the storyline, so to speak, or the dialogue, but it's like some of the shots are very, very similar in nature, with like when the dolls are running around and things like that. They're very similar in nature, and how the film ends and how Chucky ends in the first movie. It's all kind of tenuously linked, basically. So
when I realized that this movie is after Child's Play, I'm like, did they not fucking like learn? Like Child's Play, the movement of the doll is fucking superb. Like I have a lot of fucking time for Child's Play, like a lot of fucking time, and the movement for it from 1988 and working with dolls, and animatronics hadn't quite been figured out yet, and they still made it look fucking so real.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do it in this one?
Well, the reason that I think it is, Brian Wade, who was most famous for Thing, Gremlins 2, Harry and the Hendersons. He did a lot of work with Rick Baker. He worked for Rick Baker's company. He then split off on his own, and he's done more recently stuff like Saw X, the new Insidious. He did Fall of the House of Usher, Midnight Mass. He's done a lot of prosthetic stuff, but he sculpted the face of the dolly, right? But it was puppeteered by a guy called Vance Hartwell, who was most famous for puppeteering the puppets in Army of Darkness. Now, when you see how janky the Army of Darkness is, I know how they did a lot of those shots, because they had the skeleton sat on the shoulders of actors, and then they would puppeteer them from underneath, and they'd shoot it from like here upwards. And so it was going off Vance was going off of his previous expertise from doing Army of Darkness, that from what I've said. But now I'm saying that, and I'm thinking I haven't checked what year Army of Darkness came out.
We're talking 2 minutes.
Yeah, because I was honestly, my fact checking is usually really, really good, but I took that one on face value, thinking, oh yeah, Army of Darkness, that was definitely before 91, but
92.
Yeah,
because we did a review for it, so that's my notes.
So that made no sense. So whoever wrote that on one of their articles, lies.
I tell you.
Yeah.
No, it's so fucking. It's not good. It's not good. And the other little tie-in that it has with Child's Play, the titles that give to movies so they can hide the actual title. Do you know what this one was? Child's Play 4.
Definitely not. No. Can we just say no? Because Tiffany outweighs Dolly on many, many levels. And I think that was the fourth one, wasn't it, with Tiffany? In the end. Yeah.
2 seconds. I'm just going to adjust my headset a second. I generally thought I could hear someone outside.
Amazing.
There's not. It's my computer going, grr, grr, grr. And it was doing me nothing.
Did you know there's a connection to the X-Files?
No.
The whole entire score was written by Mark Snow, who is most famous for writing the theme tune to the X-Files as well. So, yeah. And I know, and like when you start looking at the pedigree of
Mm,
the people in it, B, the people working behind the scenes. I did find out actually that the director of this, who was Maria Leese,
yeah,
she
I couldn't
was
find a lot now.
no, but she got her fame, and I use that word lightly, from doing exploitation horror in the 60s and 70s. So she played she had titles of like of the parts that she played, like murdered girl, girl in shower, girl with purse, graped girl, and
Yeah.
they were her like credits in the movies. She actually did a movie, and she had a part called Joan in Dracula versus Frankenstein in the 70s. But then she decided that acting wasn't for her, and she moved to script supervising, which she now does full time from 2010. But she wrote a German TV movie and then faded into obscurity, and no one's seen or heard from her since. You know what I mean?
The pictures that I saw of her, it was just like they were so old, and I was like, oh, there's just nothing there on her, so I didn't even bother to look her up.
No,
You just went completely blank there.
I was like, no, because I was half reading my notes at the same time. I was just like, did I write that down? No, but yeah, she most definitely. I didn't like. I faded, didn't I? The 404 error.
What's the Windows music?
Yeah, boom, boom,
Boom.
But yeah, no, I was just seeing if I've written it down. But yeah, no, there's nothing on there about whether she's passed away or
No, I just couldn't find anything. Could we just go into the movie?
I will say, can I just talk quickly?
Yeah.
Rip Torn, and then I promise we'll go into the movie.
Okay.
Rip Torn has to be one of the most despicable but yet hilarious fucking people I've ever had to do a write-up about, because this guy, oh Lord, he did some seriously nefarious shit, right? In 1997, he won a defamation suit against Dennis Hopper because Dennis Hopper accused him on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno of, when they were on Easy Rider together, he reckoned that Rip Torn pulled a knife on him. He's known for having temper tantrums, Rip Torn, right? But
right.
Dennis Hopper said he did this on the set, so Rip Torn sued him and won $500,000 in this lawsuit off of Dennis Hopper. So I thought that was pretty fucking.
Doesn't like defamation like mean that your career is hindered because of what this like thing that's being said about you?
Yeah, or it's something that could possibly hinder his thing, but it is an untrue or a slight that could possibly damage his reputation.
Oh my God, what a big baby.
In 2010, he was arrested in Litchfield County, Connecticut, after police found him passed out, holding a loaded gun on the floor of a bank that had just been broken into. He was drunk and he thought the bank was his house. He was charged with criminal trespassing, carrying a firearm without a permit, carrying a firearm whilst being intoxicated, burglary, criminal mischief. He entered a plea of guilty and was given a suspended 2.5-year prison sentence, 3 years of probation, and during which time he was forbidden for ever carrying a firearm again, and he had to be subjected to random drug and alcohol testing. And for some reason, that really tickled me, because how do you break into a bank and think it's your home and fall asleep on the floor? How drunk do you have to be to do that?
Do you know when you were talking there, I was like, is she talking about like Frank Reynolds here?
That is a Frank Reynolds thing. That
is a Frank Reynolds moment right there. Rip Torn's dead, right?
Yeah, he died in 2018, I want to say.
R.I.P.
Honestly, some of the stuff the things people had to say to him, he was just such a character, and he was always either getting in fights with people. He did an episode of Hitchcock's TV series. He did oh God, Hitchcock Presents.
Yeah, that was the Hitchcock music. If nobody knew that,
he did the most famous one, and I can't remember what it was. The of Hitchcock.
He's someone I've never really followed. He's he's Zed in Men in Black,
Yeah.
and he had a incredible voice. I don't know what the fuck. I honestly don't think I've ever seen a movie of Rip Torn's that has just not been Men in Black, apart from this one.
Dodgeball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And to this day, one of my favorite lines is necessary. Is it necessary that I drink my own urine? It's just dodgeball. And it turns out that he was actually one of the league commissioners for extreme dodgeball in real life. So I don't know whether that came off the back of dodgeball or it came before.
Oh my
But
God.
I think that's absolutely brilliant.
That is we watched that when we were in the cabin when for my birthday, and it was absolutely pissing it down, and I put dodgeball on, and I was like, I forgot how fucking funny this film actually is. Like I was gonna call him Adam Sandler. Ben Stiller
Yeah.
is just and I am not the biggest fan of Ben Stiller's, but he is absolutely hilarious in that. That and Zoolander is the two things I can get away with.
He's also the first cousin of Sissy Spacek.
Well, he has a famous mom and pa. Like,
Yeah,
he's a nippo baby.
I was just really surprised when I saw Sissy Spacek, and not Ben Stiller, Rip Torn is Sissy Spacek's cousin.
Oh, right.
And I thought, well, that's a bit weird, but for some reason, I was like, okay, that makes sense. She's in horror. We can mention her.
She's an Oscar winner.
She is.
For the oh my gosh, it's a biography film. It's she plays country and western singer. Can't think of the name. But she's like completely just not the Sissy Spacek. Like we know.
Yeah.
She's so fucking good.
They're all laughing at you.
They're all gonna laugh at you. Oh, I can do her mom's voice better.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. They're all no, I can't. Oh, she died last year.
She did, yeah.
Oh, that's. I have mentioned death way too many times on this podcast now, and Paul has finally started to realize on a Sunday I will fucking go to the depths to be able to get a death fact in there. I can get away with it on this one.
So, out of the 1 hour 33 runtime or whatever it was, that we'll never ever get back, either of us.
and to think I've done this twice in my lifetime now.
Yeah, so have I.
Twice. Ah, fucking hell, man. The opening of this movie, I'm just gonna. I don't particularly want to go through the entirety of the plot because it's a very straightforward plot. But there's some bits and pieces that I have wrote down as the movie has gone on, and this is my exact notes from last night. Nothing says evil spirit like a red flash.
Ooh, wish, 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 wish. That's some CGI. Top of the line. That was proper CGI.
Oh my God, that is where the budget went, right there in that red flash. Yeah. Do you know what it was giving us at the beginning? Exorcist vibes. And I was like, don't fucking pull Pazuzu out of there and tell me that's not it. I was getting prepared to get so angry, and it wasn't. It was an ancient Mayan burial tomb thing that got opened by an archaeologist that then killed him, and a red flash came out of it.
Yeah.
That's the opening of this movie.
Yeah.
That done. Dolly Dearest.
I haven't got anything to say about that.
But yeah, so the family is uprooted from Los Angeles to Mexico to open a doll factory.
Yes. And the question the dad says to the guy that lets him in is, your forecasts were amazing. How did you do it? You know, and he was like, I copied it out of a textbook. And I was
fucking
like,
genius answer. Genius answer.
That's what you get, mate. Sight unseen. That's on you.
Right. So this is me little bugbear with this. Well, there's many bugbears with this. So he goes to take over a well-established back in the day dollhouse, like doll factory, and he's expecting all singing and dancing and whatnot. And it's not, because it is a shack where this, woman fucking made dolls. And he's going to make this top of the range doll. Everyone's going to have a dolly in their house. Mm-hmm. Why is she already made and in there? There's 4 of them.
And they're all pristine with just a tiny little cloth over them. However, the bucket of rubber has gone so hard that he can't use it.
But
I'm
he
like,
hasn't been there before. He's going
No.
there to set a business up to create these dolls, yet there's fucking 4 of them sitting on the shelf.
if they did say how they got there, I don't remember. I genuinely don't.
That is something that they fucking failed to tell people, because the dad, stupidly, I mean, to look at the doll's face, you can tell it's fucking haunted. I'm like, it's got a haunted face about it. And he hands
not
one
pleasant
of them.
to look at.
It's not. It's really not. And he hands
No.
over one to his very oh my gosh, she's like a little angel, isn't she? She's got this beautiful blonde hair and gorgeous little like 80s summer dress on, and he hands her fucking Dolly.
I mean, bear in mind, we would, like I said, she's only 12 days older than me in real life. That Candy, whatever her name is.
Candice.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name was in the
Jessica.
the film. Jessica. So when I was watching it and I started looking up a bit about her, I was like, well, how old was she? Was she 11 when she filmed this? Because she played it a lot younger.
She did. But
And I kept thinking, well, when I was 11, I was watching Kylie Minogue. I went to a Kylie Minogue concert at 11, and then I'm thinking we're definitely way apart here on how old I was at 11 and how old she's portraying 11 at. But then I was like, is she supposed to be like 8 or 9? I don't know how old she was supposed to be.
They didn't really like stamp an age on her, but her dress and the fact she still plays dolls, I would have categorized her like as a young, like maybe 7, 8 year old. And did you notice the book that Jimmy was reading on the plane going to Mexico?
I didn't.
I had to write it down. I was fucking decked. Why bad things happen to good kids. Yep.
Foreshadowing.
Yep. I actually, I genuinely feel like Jimmy is the only proper fleshed out character in this, because he is a kid who knows his own mind as soon as you meet him. He dresses very smartly. He's obviously, education is important to him. He researched his arse off when he found out about the mine burial shit, and he's just he knew to leave his sister alone and not push it when he said, you need to go for a nap, and she went, I don't need to do shit, and he was like, okay then, that's fine, no way. I just feel like out of all of these characters, he is the only proper fleshed out one, and he actually did a fucking bang up job. I mean, don't get us wrong, I think the girl who played Jessica played fucked up kid so well.
It's the
fucked up possessed kid. Yeah.
And the thing about Jimmy was that he was they loosely based his character on, now I don't know if you ever watched this, because it used to be down in London, it was on ITV quite a lot, and it was called Family Ties. And it was an early 80s American sitcom type family drama thing. And it was Michael J. Fox played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have it, but I know of it through my, because that was what he was that was what he was recording when he was, well, it's while he was doing Back to the Future, he would do that in the morning and Back to the Future at night.
Yeah, because that's why they had the original guy Eric play him instead, because Michael's schedule didn't lend to it. But then they got rid of Eric, and then
they made it happen. Work. There's some really fucking heavy episodes in Family Ties, like with Michael J. Fox's character, like for the time as well.
But they loosely based it on his look, with the tie and like being like.
It makes a lot of sense since you've said that. With
the earphones and just the more relaxed, smart, casual like look, and they wanted to make him intelligent but also compassionate. So. It was a loosely based off the time kind of thing, and it made sense because, like you say, I think he probably was the most fleshed out character. Considering if it is true with the research and that is what happened, then it makes perfect sense because he was already an existing character that they've just sort of
put you in there. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the factory, the burial, and this. This is what I've wrote. So on the actual dig itself, there is barbed wired fence, which is right next door to the factory, by the way, if I haven't just already pointed that out to you. On the factory, on the site itself, barbed wires, and it has a sign. And I have my notes say, no passe. I don't speak fucking Spanish. I know it means keep the fuck out.
Yes, correct. Yes, 100%.
But
I
no,
got that.
Jimmy fucking doesn't. Jimmy doesn't
curious.
at all. To fucking curiosity will kill Jimmy. It didn't, by the way.
No.
This is if you've missed what I said earlier, this is actually deemed as a slasher movie, believe it or not.
Even though the first kill is technically the archaeologist that got squished by the door.
That
And
was
the
just a pure accident.
Yeah, and then the second kill wasn't even well, no, I suppose it was a stabbing, not a slashing.
She
And
electrocuted her.
But yeah, she stabbed her in the neck first, and then I'm gonna call her Rosalita, going around going, like
Oh,
proper
Yolanda!
bouncing off of everything. And then she gets the Christmas lights wrapped around her and ends up in some sort of weird pool thing that they have in the basement. I was like,
Yeah.
what on earth is this, like Final Destination? You know, like
Fucking horrific is what it is.
she did have the worst fate out of all the deaths. I would easily say that
all the deaths. There was only this one, that one. There was, I wrote them down. There's Yolanda gets it, the worker gets it. You class the archaeologist at the beginning. Who's the last one?
Well, I have a kill count of 4, and then I have a kill count of 4 dollies. So a total kill count of 8, but I don't recall who the last person was.
I don't recall who the last person was. Rip Torn?
Did he die? I can't. This film does not.
I remember, I literally watched it last night, and I just remember them getting in the car, the 4 of them driving off, and the film ended like abrupt. It was like such an abrupt.
It was a weird cut, wasn't it? It was like credits. I was like,
credits.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, this is deemed as a slasher movie, not a possession movie, which it should be, because that's what actually happens. This red fucking blip thing that came out at the beginning is possessed. Now, what got me, and why they didn't hone in on this and make it something more than what it was, it wasn't just one doll that was possessed, it was all of them.
Yeah. The bit I couldn't fathom, right, was all 4 of the dolls were possessed. How did the little girl get possessed? Just from hugging the doll? They don't explain it. She just suddenly gets possessed.
They literally don't give anything, because it's a evil spirit.
Yeah.
One.
Singular.
Uno, numo. Yeah. And it manages to split itself into 4 dolls, which is fine. Make that its law. But fucking give some, like, depth and, like, background into it. Do not just assume that I know that them fucking... No, I do not like the second kill scene at all. We were talking before we came on, and I think this is the point that actually give me nightmares, is the 3 dolls attacking the worker. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the second kid, tell me how he died.
Of fright. I don't really know.
He puts his hand onto a sewing machine that they turn on, and the sewing machine goes up his hand, and he then falls down dead with blood coming out of his mouth. That's how it works, didn't you know? It died of fear. I don't really know. Sewing machine death in the hand and blood coming out of his mouth. I have worked with sewing machines before. Like, my grandmother learned me. She could have learned us how to speak and all. She taught me. She taught me how to use sewing machines, and because I used to get grounded a lot as a kid, and my gran gave me little things to do, and knitting and working her sewing machine was one of them. Your fucking hand can't go through a sewing machine. I don't care how good the needle is, or how powerful the machine is. It ain't going through that, and you're certainly not fucking dying from it. Because clearly it punctured his stomach or his lungs to bring the blood up. Through his hand. Yeah, for him to aspirate, blood. Clearly it meant that. This
He
movie can go and
was-
fuck off.
Yeah.
It can go and fuck right off. But there is a couple of scenes in there where the dolls, their faces are different, which I thought was cool.
Mm.
I'll give that it like their faces were all like different expressions.
I have one doll that I have the biggest issue with, and that was just the single head on the little bit of mesh where the tongue came out.
No.
I have no explanation. I don't know what it was, like a party streamer, wasn't it? Like one of those it pops out and it goes and then it pops back in the mouth again.
I can't believe I can bring this back round to Always Sunny, but one of the Poilmec brothers when he goes
What?
one of the McCoyles when he can do that with his tongue. It's that.
Oh God.
Oh
Now
god.
you're making me think of Snail for some reason. Gail the Snail. I don't know why I'm like my brain's just hopping now from character to character. I'm like Gail the Snail.
Gail the Snail is one of the best characters. They did not use her enough. He's my boyfriend now.
Oh.
I'm sexually active. You should be, Gail.
Oh
Right.
God.
Dolly.
Back on track.
Dearest. No, but I did like. I will give it its props. I will give the expression on the face were all different, and I like that. But I just they could have gone into it a bit more. Another thing that really knocks us about this film, the dollhouse in the back garden.
Mhm.
The doll. There's a.
Where did it come from?
Where did it come from? Where did this doll have this big? I mean, I'm telling you, a dollhouse that Denise Crosby can walk in with actual ease. She didn't have to bend down or anything. It is fucking huge, but this huge. I have seen kids buried in ones like that, mind. There is actual graves of doll houses like that.
No, thank you. No, I'm out.
And she's got one in her back garden.
She's got a mausoleum. Yeah, I don't know. It was the fact as well, like when Jessica saw Dolly move for the first time, she wasn't spooked by it, and she chased her and thought it was great. And I was just like, fuck no. Even at 11, I would have been, nope. I would have noped the hell out of there.
When Dolly's hand closes the door, and I'm like, fucking no. Actually, the first moment that actually freaked us out last night, and I was like, fuck, was when Denise Crosby is tidying up, and you see Dolly in the mirror in the background, just standing there staring at her. I'm like, burn the house down.
I mean, I'll give Ed Gale his due in this, because that scene where with the sewing machine in the factory and leading up to the end scene where they hijack the dad and corral him like some weird bit of cattle and hike him up by his leg and dangle him over the rubber machine or whatever it is machine that and it's like, dude, you could have easily got off that about 1,000 times and you're just going no, I'm going to die, stop the machine. And Rip Torn comes running in and saves the day, and it's like
it's why you have to rely on Rip Torn of all people.
But it's not a slasher. There I don't recall. There was a stabbing with an electrocution. There was a door squishing. There was a sewing machine, and then I can't even remember how the hell Rip Torn died, but he died. I think. So
I generally don't know at this point. But what I've wrote, I mean, no. Prosthetic hand is ridiculous. You can't die that way. Is what I wrote. There was another scene that really knocked us. So the mom starts to figure out that her daughter is something's going on with her child. There's differences in her. She's acting strange, and there is one scene where she says to her mother, "I'm going to kill you," and "I'm going to kill you" in her child voice, and then "I'm going to kill you" in her possessed voice. Now Jimmy heard that, and who was standing behind Jimmy? Elliot, the dad. So how the fuck did Elliot not hear his daughter go, "I'm gonna kill you," and and then starts wailing like a little baby, like, "Oh, daddy, she's been so mean to me." And then Elliot acts like an absolute dickhead.
Yeah, and then he starts to gaslight the mum, and like
Oh my god, I
when
would
they
have
walk
pushed him
out, he's
down.
like, "I think you need some help. It's all you," kind of thing. And I
I
was
would
just
have pushed him down. I would have pushed him down the stairs and blamed the doll.
yeah. And then she's like, "Well, sod you." And then she went off to the archaeological dig. Now I can't say. And she was like to Rip Torn, you know, what's the issue here? I do think my daughter's possessed. She used the Sanzia word. And
Senzia.
my housekeeper said that, you know, it's an ancient language, and Rip Torn's face drops, and you think to yourself, oh God, here we go. And yeah, I mean, I genuinely can see why it flopped.
Do you reckon?
I'm just sitting here trying to think if there was any redeeming
there's
scene
not
in that
one.
film that you can go, well, that was good. If they'd have just made it that bit more whatever, fleshed out or something, then it had potential. But I can't even think of one scene. Not
No.
one.
There's, gosh, if it was the only thing I can think of to make this is have a cast that actually gives a shit.
Is that?
Because if your children are out acting your adults, then
Yeah.
there's some serious fucking talks that need to happen.
Especially with the accreditation of the adults that are there. Denise Crosby and Rip Torn, at least.
Exactly. And don't get us wrong, for all that I don't know Sam Bottoms in his filmography, he did work. He did do work. He did work on movies, on TV. But yeah, if your kids are out acting your adults, you need to have a serious conversation. But they needed a cast that give a shit. I can't knock the kids. I cannot. And not just because the kids, like, you know, everyone knows how feelings on the kids from the Babadook. He's fucking horrific. But these were really fucking trying.
Yeah, completely agree.
Oh,
I think the movie, how it ended, was a bit bizarre because the dolly had self-awareness up until the point it picked up the stick of dynamite and was like, "What's this?" And it was like, you were more clued up on how to wield a knife and electrocute someone and corral them with a lasso and hoist them in the air, but you've never seen explosives before or stick a dynamite before.
You fucking idiot.
I know it's an ancient demon, but if it can do all these other things,
yeah, clue yourself up, pet. Jimmy's line when he finally see, that's another thing Jimmy did really well. He didn't know how to use a shotgun. He never but he acted like he did because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And he thinks like this is how you hold it. And when he realized that, oh shit, that's not how you do it, he figured it out. He spent like a little bit of, granted, it was probably felt like a lifetime, but he figured it out. And the line he says, "Play with this, bitch," and shoots Dolly right in the stomach, and Ad was like, "Get the fuck in, Jimmy. Get on there. Get on, young Jimmy, son."
Yeah, play with this bitch. Okie dokie.
Oh.
And then what happens is at the very, very end is that I think it's Rip Torn and the dad. It might not be Rip Torn, but I'm pretty sure it's both of them. Run around and stick all the dynamite in the various different places to blow the factory up. And then there's just the ending scene is literally Dolly picking up the stick of dynamite, looking at it, going, "What the hell is this?" And then the face going, You know, the awareness hits, and then boom, and then it's the credits.
That is literally the ending.
The roof blows off the factory, and then the credits come up quicker than you can take it in, you know. And I was like, well, twofold, thank God that's over. But Jesus Christ, that was a bad cut. You know what I mean? Like, wow,
I had to keep checking how long I had left. I was like, "Come on, you can do this. You've got half an hour left. You can do that. You can do this."
I can't believe it made 1 hour 33 minutes. How?
No, you could know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It felt like a lifetime though.
It was, yeah.
It felt so long, and I don't know if I've apologized enough for making you watch this. For making you watch this. Now, usually when we do movies like this, like older movies, That's not even that old, 91, but it looks fucking ancient.
Really does.
I would say, oh my God, I urge you to watch it. It's so good. It's so don't.
No.
Don't do it. Save
No.
yourselves. Just take this absolute slaughter of what we have given you of this movie and just let that be the memory. Let you just keep that. But if you do want to watch it, it is on YouTube.
Yeah, so you keep the memory of Rip Torn asleep on a bank floor thinking it's his house. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yep.
You don't need to keep any memories of Rip Torn blowing up a doll in a Mexican factory.
And we're not really sure if he's alive or dead.
No, I can't remember. That genuinely, this is the first time I've come into a film feeling like I have nothing to say, because the film, there is nothing out there about it.
Yeah.
Literally, the trivia is this big on IMDb, and even then, when you're going into Wikipedia, when you're going into trying to research some minutia, like the director, like the special effects, like the puppeteers, all that sort of thing, when you start going into that side of stuff, you're still not getting anything. So I thought that's why I thought of going to the actors and actresses a little bit more, because
flesh it out.
It helps give context, but then in some aspects it's just I did not like this film.
No, I can't even, I don't even want to ask for a rating. I don't think we do ratings, but I don't even want to ask for one. You can't even give it 1, Dan. That's being fucking generous.
Yeah, on the scale of only being allowed to do whole numbers, well, not whole numbers, but 1, 2, 3, it would be the very, very lowest that was possible able to give, and that would be a 1 on this case. But if 0 was an option, that's where I am.
It is. Under these circumstances, under this movie, it is, because I apologize. I apologize to you. I apologize to our viewers. I apologize to our listeners. I apologize that this was the first horror movie I watched at 8-year-old. And I always used to like that as my origin story of horror. I watched Dolly Dearest and it absolutely gave us the nightmares for fucking ages. And I watched it again and went, that is embarrassing. that is embarrassing. That terrified you. I mean, there is some fucking creepy ass moments with the doll, I've got to say, especially when she starts shaking. What the fuck was that about? Yeah, no, fuck off. Next week, though, on the other hand, I cannot fucking wait for this. I really can't. Go on, as it's yours, you can tell us what we're all doing next week.
We're doing my first horror movie, which is The Burning. Mr. Cropsey and his shears and his camp summer knockoff. Technically, we both watched first horror movie. Both of our first horror movies were knockoffs of more popular films. So we've got this weird duality going on there.
But the one difference is yours gets still to this day a lot of love.
I think it's because it never had. I'm saying it never had sequels. It may well have, but I don't remember there being any sequels to The Burning.
There's definitely none for Dolly Dearest.
There is. I saw there was a Dolly Dearest 2, but I don't know if it was ever put in production. I don't know if it was ever put into production. So that's why I was very, very confused, and I was like,
"Oh, Christ!"
So
the worst thing is if Annabelle is the inspiration, she can get in the bin and all. Because why is it? Why can't they make dolls? Sorry, let's start that again. Why do they have to make dolls look fucking creepy to be a possessed doll? They do it with it. I mean, they don't do it in Child's Play. They use a doll that has a very childlike face. Mm-hmm. There's nothing evil or creepy about this doll. The way that it's dressed, the colors that they use, I generally could see that I would be all over that as a kid before, obviously, fucking Dolly came into my life. But Annabelle, who thought in the right mind that was a good idea? Why do you need to make a doll that you are going to deem scary to look scary? If you use the image of the Raggedy Ann doll as inspiration, that is fucking terrifying to think that fucking redheaded little doll is going to fucking jack me up.
I think they needed to make it more humanoid like to make
And
it more
she-
sinister. But
she had Sam Bryce eyebrows circa 2012 going on. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
she had my sister's haircut, to be fair, circa 1991. And I'm pretty sure we had black versions of that dress that she had on as well.
And
Like,
and Dolly, even her to a degree, she even looks fucking like she's an odd shape.
yeah, it doesn't sit right, does it? It's like,
No, she's an odd shape and she's an odd size. I remember the craze of porcelain dolls back in the 90s. Fuck me. My
No.
friends were obsessed with them. My friend, actually, not the one who would get me the horror, the one who actually introduced me to Witchboard, who is still one of my oldest and dearest friends, and still lives in the house that she grew up in around the corner. She used to have on the wall a whole fucking lineup of these porcelain dolls. And on a nighttime when we used to go to hers, she had a blue light that reflected off their fucking faces.
no, I'm out. Thank you. Goodbye.
I couldn't see it. Do you know what? I
No.
was such a fucking baby. Every time we used to do a sleepover, I would get up in the middle of the night and go home.
Yeah, don't blame
Couldn't
me.
I couldn't do it. I wasn't one for wanting to stay over at friends' houses when I was a kid because I didn't know what they owned.
Mm.
And I was like, if they put like something out that's gonna scare us, like I just want to go home.
Well, if you've got 20 of those bloody things staring at you in the face, I think it's like that would be a note. That would be all kinds of note for me.
My grandmother, can you remember the co-op used to do, if you collect so many tokens, you get something at the end of it. She got my sister this big, massive white teddy bear that my sister to this day, who was 34 years old, still sleeps with. Still, it's her cushion. It's about this thin now. It used to be this big. But she also did the coupons for the porcelain doll, Harriet. I still remember her fucking name. And I think Michaela still owns her, but somebody, because Michaela was getting this porcelain doll, they got me one. Bearing in mind I'm 6 years older than my sister, that was called Samantha, that had this pink flowery dress. I still can picture a pink flowery dress on with tight lock curly hair and a bonnet and a white parasol. And I was like, oh, that's really, really nice gift. Michaela, do you want me doll? And Michaela had to take her off my hands because I couldn't keep her. They freak me the fuck out. They really do. It's only in my 40s, my late 30s and 40s, that I finally own some form of a Barbie doll in my Force of Destiny dolls. I've never owned Barbies or anything like that. And Dolly Dearest is half the reason for that. Hate the bitch.
I can see why.
Yeah, fucking terrible. I'm so sorry. So yes, next week is Dan's first horror movie, The Burning. I cannot fucking wait. I promise that this gloomy face is gone forever, and we never have to have conversations like this ever again. Oh God. So where am I? We are on YouTube.
Correct.
Every Monday at 7:00. The audio for this and all of our other episodes is available on iTunes and Spotify or anywhere you get your podcast from. And new episodes are uploaded every Tuesday. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. This movie is absolutely tucking me out. Like, share, and subscribe. My brain has gone to mush. Like, share, and subscribe to the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell and find out when your favorite podcasts are going to be uploaded. And, you know, go and have a look at our back catalogue. We have better ones than this available.
Just a few. Just a few.
My favorite is still to this day is Pet Sematary.
Correct. Yeah, I'm up there with that one. That's one of my favorites.
One of my favorites is being Pet Sematary. It's available on YouTube to watch. It's also available on audio to listen to, along with many of our others in our back catalogue. Right. Feel like that's it. Is anything you want to say?
I will see all of you in Newcastle this weekend. Come in. It's at the arena. Forgotten what it's called these days because they change the name of it every other week.
I still call it the Telewest Arena. I don't even think that's what it's called anymore.
They
And I'm from
literally-
here.
I've been to that arena probably 5 or 6 times with various different companies doing shows there, and it's been called something different every time. But it's just the big arena in Newcastle, and we are doing Newcastle Comic Con. Please come, please see us, please say hi. I know you guys are going to be milling around at some point over the weekend.
I'll be there.
So yeah, come see us, come say hi, come tell me how wrong I am about everything, Mike. And then and
he
then
didn't to me. I saw him I saw him the other week, and he didn't to me. He was nothing but lovely. I mean, I did give him stickers, so he was very, very nice.
I'm gonna have to bribe him with something, aren't I?
But that was and go on. Also, don't just go and say hi. Go and see what Dan is selling, because Dan's merch is fucking incredible. Don't say nothing. You got stuff.
Got stuffs.
Got stuff and things.
Coming up after that, we've then got Liverpool Comic Con at the beginning of May, and then we have got HorrorCon Sheffield a week after, which is where we will be launching the makeup brand that we have just we've just been working on it for a while, but we're the first people in the whole of Europe to stock Creature Cosmetics now. So
Creature fucking Cosmetics for all you makeup nerds out there. Holy shit, Dan.
It is some seriously awesome horror collections. We've got a lot more coming in the pipework. In the pipeworks. Friggin' hell, this film has completely blown my mind. There's a lot in the works coming with this company. They even reached out to me to say, you know, they're really happy with the traction and the comments that people are getting, because they didn't realize they would be that big over here. Keep your eye out on social media, because there's a few of our friendlies that are going to be doing some showing you what we've got better than
actual professionals.
Yeah, professional people.
Makeup. Yes, that's
so
right.
I will say, if you go and like the accounts on TikTok and maybe YouTube and Instagram of Scary Zara Mary, Mally Malpass, he's going to be doing some of the makeup reviews. Then we've got Pure Horror, and we've got Emily Boo. So between the 4 of those guys, they'll have bits and pieces from the collection for you to have a look at and see if you like. We've got Terrifier, Evil Dead 2, Return of the Living Dead. There's some Sleepaway Camp in there, and we've got a few more bits and pieces coming. So we have.
I actually already own the Sleepaway Camp bag because Dan got it for us last year.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting time for everything. Really trying to find things that are new, and we're trying to bring people stuff that we don't see all the time, but where we are hoping to launch that at HorrorCon, and we will also have a limited edition pin badge that we're releasing with HorrorCon for the show itself. There'll be a limited run of maybe 100 on the Saturday, 100 on the Sunday, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I can't make it. I have Paris, and
the HorrorCon is like we sponsored HorrorCon now since 2019 or 2018. It's one of the other. It's been a long time we've been sponsoring that show for, and
it is such an up and coming horror event. Like last year, it was
crazy.
Honestly, the promotion for it leading up to it, the guests that were there, the actual event itself, the news that was coming out of it, the buzz that was around it. This is something to look at, people. This and No Fun of a Horror is always going to be probably the central horror convention, but this one I feel is going to just explode, expand, and get better and better.
Well, with HorrorCon Sheffield, it is a more obscure horror. I say obscure, that's when you go for the love of horror, it's a different con in respects of that you're going to get your Terrifiers, you're going to get your more modern casts and big hitting guests. HorrorCon Sheffield have a very small amount of guests, but last year they had the whole of the Hellraiser cast there, and this year they've got Griffin Dunn from American Werewolf. They've got Children of the Corn, so they've got a couple of cast members from Children of the Corn. They've got Kane Hodder, he's there, and they've got Jessica and Michael from the Grim Life Collective they announced recently. And then I think there's 2 or 3 more. There's Britt Eklund, I think she's going to be there.
Yeah, just heard that.
There's also, and I forget this, I think it's Jeff something, and Pure Horror's going to kill me for not getting remembering his name, but he played the new Herman Munster, and he's been in a lot of Rob Zombie movies.
He's in the Lords of Salem. I fucking love that guy so much.
Jeff, oh god, it's gone, but he's there as well. So I'm not sure if there's any more to come. There may well be between now and the week before my birthday. But yeah, it's I highly suggest it for people who are looking for something that's slightly more, not personal, but it's a smaller thing, but it's a totally different atmosphere to For the Love. For the Love is a huge thing. It works in the way that works, and HorrorCon Sheffield works in the way it works.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like this is going to be the one people are going to be talking about. This is it. I can just see it explode, especially after last year. Last year, I have never, like, it's not something that's crossed my path.
Really?
Like, I would say, yeah, like, not that I hadn't heard of it, but it's just, I was like, meh. I know.
They've had Elvira, they've had Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, we had Jeffrey Combs there, Barbara Crampton.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they tend to
honestly never crossed my path.
Yeah, they tend to pick guests from movies that are now considered cult classics.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say Elvira, I don't think she's ever done a costume shoot. I think she's come as Cassandra. But
that would be enough.
But yeah, there's been years when, like, Dario Argento did it. He did HorrorCon Sheffield. So there's been a lot of like random things. And the year of COVID, which I'm so gutted, got completely. It got cancelled. They had Joe Dante on the books. They had Catherine Isabel. And they had Skeet Ulrich at that time. And Skeet Ulrich hadn't come over and done any cons prior to that I can remember for a very, very long time. So that was the first 3 that have been announced. And then obviously COVID put the card on.
Crazy. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot. I can't go. I'm sad about it. But yes, you have a lot going on. And honestly, keep an eye out on Bleeding Marvelous on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Because I obviously knew it was coming, but when it came, I dropped my phone, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, look at all this stuff, the cool stuff, the Terrifier stuff is fucking, like, no pun intended, it's terrifying, but it looks so good, like, it's for collectors, for like, just looks brilliant.
The Terrifier bags we're getting in from Creature Cosmetics are insane.
Oh my god, so much happening over at the Bleeding Marvelous camp, and obviously you guys will get to know what's going on because the owner's right here. She's right there. She's been sitting there the whole time. Who knew? Wait, is that everything? We got everything out the way. We
never have to visit this dog shit film again, so I'm going to say yes.
God for that.
So we'll go with yes. We're done.
Well, if there's nothing else to say goodbye, Dan.
Bye, Dan.
Stay spooky, everyone. Bye.
Please don't.